I request all the delegates to keep their mobiles on silent mode. We will commence the program by lighting of the traditional lamp. I request Mr. Joshi and Mr. Najib Shah. I request Mr. Joshi and Mr. Najib Shah to light the traditional lamp. We'd, we'd like to welcome Mr. Najib Shah with a shawl and a bouquet of flowers. Mr. Joshi, to do the honors, please. We'll commence with the welcome address by Mr. Joshi.
Can I be heard at the back, please? Okay, thank you. Mr. Najib Shah, Chairman CBEC. Mr. Trivedi, we are expecting him shortly. I'm sorry that Mr. Bansal has not, Member Customs has not been able to join us this morning. Office bearers, all the delegates, local and those who have come from out of station. Mr. Shah, most of our members here that you see, I think each person is equal to having 5 or 10 local, because we've kept it limited because most of them have come from outstation. And they've all heard about you, but they've not had the opportunity to meet you personally. So that was one reason why we kept the AGM in Delhi. Last year it was somewhere else. And I welcome all of you on the occasion of 21st AGM of NACFS. NACFS is the largest body of its kind and has the membership of 100 ICDs and CFS owners. The ICDs employ lakhs of people directly and indirectly, and its members have invested thousands of crores in infrastructure such as warehouses, cranes, top lifters, forklifts, transport fleet, rail sidings, and even container trains in some cases. While its members are spread all over India, some others are multinationals. NACFS represents its members to interact with ministries such as finance, commerce, shipping, etc., and is a member of Customs Consultative Committee chaired by CBEC and Scope Shipping Committee chaired by Ministry of Commerce. The vision of NACFS is to strive to attain the best standards to match the international standards of ICDs and CFSs all over the world with the help of and support of its members. All the challenges facing the ICDs and CFSs can be resolved by active and close coordination of all its members with the support from government, statutory and other authorities, thus safeguarding the interests of ICDs and CFSs as well as Ministry of Finance. NACFS has come a long way after being founded in April 94 with just 10 members at that time. Now it has grown to over 100 members on date. ICDs are located in hinterland while CFSs are created at hubs around the ports to decongest the ports and help in prompt handling and clearance of EXIM cargo. All ICDs and CFSs have a contingent of customs officers to expedite the EXIM cargo clearance of full container loads and less than container loads of variety of cargo. Since port terminals act as transit points, ICDs and CFSs provide storage facilities too and help the EXIM trade to bring down the transaction cost by bringing shipping literally to the doorstep of importers and exporters. Actually, in the Customs Act, we have also been defined as an extension of seaport. Dry port is extension of. So I would also request that the Customs Department should always look at us more sympathetically, give us all the advantages which are there for the seaports. As a matter of fact, keeping this in view only, probably one of the reasons why cost recovery was waived was because I think the department realized, much to our relief, that it is so, and we need to be shown that sympathy. Lowering of transaction costs. That way we also, in our humble capacity, help growth of GDP. NACFS has formed port-wise chapters for better coordination at the local level with government, customs, port, steamer agents, custom brokers, transporters, and various chambers. The AGM celebrations started yesterday with a with a social and cultural evening. And later in the day, we have two important presentations on topics of utmost importance. First one being on Customs Single Window by Commissioner Customs, Single Window. This is followed by a presentation on authorized economic operators. This will greatly inform our members that how they can avail of this facility. And on behalf of NACFS, once again, I welcome all of you, and big thank you to all of you for attending this function. I also take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Vishwapati Trivedi, ex-Secretary Shipping, currently the Chairman of National Shipping Board. And both these gentlemen, despite tremendous constraints today, I'm grateful to them that have been able to grace this occasion. Thank you. Can I request Mr. Najib Shah to say a few words to us? Yeah, sorry, you would like to give a brief.
Sir, just 1 minute, yes. We'd like to recognize Dr. Trivedi today, and I would request Mr. Jha to honor him with a shawl and a bouquet of flowers. Mr. Najib Shah is an officer of the 79 batch Customs and Excise Service. He has wide experience having handled various aspects of indirect taxes. He was also Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, and he had a stint in the High Commission of India at Singapore. He has been working in the board initially as a member and subsequently as a chairman from July 2015. Mr. Shah has been kind enough to recognize NACF's contribution to digital customs by conferring the WCO Certificate of Merit on World Customs Day. I request Mr. Shah to give us his address.
Mr. Trivedi, Mr. Joshi, my colleagues from the department, and friends. At the outset, let there not be any doubt whatsoever, Mr. Joshi, that we consider you as our partners. You are an integral part of the way in which customs does business in India. With congestion at ports, and Mr. Trivedi is most well equipped to talk to you on that. CFSs have become a natural extension, an extended arm of the port. So very important to ease the congestion, so very important to expedite the process of clearance of cargo, both inward and outward. You are key players in the logistic chain. You are important stakeholders in the cross-border trade. And like, again, Mr. Joshi mentioned, you have invested lots of money in the economy and contributed immensely to the growth of the economy. So at the outset, again, I reiterate, let there not be any doubt whatsoever of the important role which you play and the fact that the CBSE recognizes this importance. Given the role which you play, there is also a huge responsibility on each one of you. Remember, you are acting as our custodians. You are acting as the extended arms of the Customs Department, in effect. We are keeping with you goods worth crores and crores of rupees which have not paid duty. You are our custodians of revenue. Therefore, the responsibility cast on you was also immense. So, you are as much an equal partner with me as we are with you. With the increasing focus of the government on ease of doing business, where time and cost are crucial factors, this role which you have to play becomes even more important. You're all aware of the World Bank's rankings. You're all aware of our concerted efforts to improve our rankings. We have been having several outreach programs in Bombay, in Delhi, to educate you about the requirements which the World Bank questionnaire has cast on each one of you. Unfortunately, what has happened in the past is that a lot of our respondents, the persons who received these questions, have perhaps not realized the significance of the questions being asked. And this has resulted in us getting a ranking which we certainly don't deserve. In every which way, the processes which we have put in place help in expeditious clearance of cargo. And I'm sure this year, with all the efforts being put in by the CBEC and the DIPP, we would be in a position to reflect more correctly where we actually stand. I'm happy also that in the course of the day, you are going to have sessions on single window, which has been initiated by the CBEC. This formed part of the FM's speech in the budget. We plan to roll this out by the 1st of April. It's a huge, significant step which we have taken, where we are going to integrate multiple departments on a single window. Other regulatory agencies like the FSSAI, the Plant Quarantine, the Drug Authorities, Textile Committee, simply because we would ease the process and the pain involved for each importer or exporter to get clearances and permissions from each one of them. We have devised an integrated declaration form which is on the website. I would urge you all to have a look at it. My colleague Rajendra Meena will, in the course of the day, explain to you the contours of this form and the scheme itself a little more in detail. But this has been a huge, significant step which we have made in the last few months. The shipping lines also, you are aware now, have been urged to ensure that electronic delivery orders are given to you all. This again used to be a pain point. Navashiva especially had this as a major problem. With the help and assistance and persuasion through the shipping ministry, we are trying to get more and more shipping lines on board to ensure that the electronic delivery orders are given. You are aware of digital signatures, being accepted by the department. In fact, we have made it mandatory. You're also aware of the fact that we have put in place 24/7 customs clearances. This is something which I want to again share with you to say that we need to ensure that we make this a success. 24/7 simply means that the importer and the exporter can opt to do his processes anytime in the course of the day. So you're in effect spreading the burden over a 24-hour timeline instead of 1400 hours in the afternoon to 2000 hours in the evening, which is when the bulk of the customs activity takes place in the country. And that delays the entire processes. We do realize that all agencies are not on board in 24/7, but it's a chicken and egg situation. Unless the trade is there, the rest of the people are not going to come. So I would urge you all to make use of these facilities so that we can facilitate and expedite trade and spread them across a 24-hour timelines. This budget, we have also brought about significant procedures whereby we have again relaxed the various processes. You are aware of the warehousing procedures, which have been a huge significant step. We have completely rewritten Chapter 9 of the Customs Act, where again we have reposed a lot of trust on the trade, and I'm sure that they will also be living up to that trust. The result of all this has been that the dwell time, the time taken for release of cargo, has significantly been coming down. We are putting all this on the websites. Each one of our custom houses puts this on the website. So exactly everybody knows where the delays are taking place. You realize there that the customs role, which is of merely confirming that the assessments as done by the importer and the exporter, we are living in an era of self-assessment, are right or wrong. We have put in a vibrant, robust risk management system in place whereby nearly 70% of the cargo simply gets facilitated. There's no customs intervention at any point of time. Remember, facilitation is a result of compliance. If you don't comply with the law, you can't expect facilitation. That is something which, where people put the blame at the door of the customs and say that facilitation levels have come down, they simply forget the fact that that if you comply with the law, there's no need and no necessity for intervention from the customs. And remember also that the customs, by virtue of being at the point of entry and exit, are the custodian of multifarious agencies and multifarious laws. Not every agency is present there. They expect the customs to carry out their and implement their regulations. So while there has been significant reduction in dwell time, there is still obviously room for improvement. In the entire scheme of things of a delivery of a cargo in the hands of an importer or till the let export order is given and the goods are laid on the vessel, the time taken by the customs is not even 15 to 20% in the entire scheme of things. So you have so many players in between who contribute to this time. And you again, as custodians of goods, play a significant role in ensuring that this time also can be expedited. We have also, by virtue again of the fact that you are extended arms of the ports and away from the ports, put in place in some places mechanisms to ensure that the cargo indeed reaches the CFSs. Thus, for instance, the transit movement which takes place, for instance, between Calcutta and the land customs stations with the assistance of the ADB, we have put in RFID procedures there which ensures that the cargo is indeed getting out. Chennai has done exceptional work on this in an experimental way. And I would urge again that all of us need to come together to put this in place to ensure that the concerns of the department, what really are the concerns of the department? Here are non-duty paid goods being cleared from the port, going to a custodian, and thereafter on payment of duty and fulfillment of all other statutory requirements, moves out of the CFS properly. So we would like to ensure that tracking is done so that the cargo doesn't stray away from its destination. So that's again an area where I think we need to work together. I'm aware also of the fact that you have raised several issues in the past with us. We are examining them. This issue of cost recovery, again, which Mr. Joshi had mentioned, we have taken care of the lot of legacy issues, but I do understand and appreciate the fact that you still have concerns. about creation of these posts, even at the time of issue of letter of intent. We are examining this request made by you, and we hope to have some solution soon. But in any which case, if there are instances of protracted delay, do bring it to our attention. Similarly, there have been concerns about the disposal of cargo, where cargo is lying uncleared with you, and where there is no successful auction done despite 4 notices. We have a problem. And there are lots of undisposed cargo lying in the country, which blocks your space, blocks my revenue, and needs to get out. We have discussed this at length in our own internal conferences, and we think we can have some solutions. Again, Chennai, I must appreciate the initiative put in by them, where they have developed a software of monitoring such undisposed cargo. This is some good practice which I would urge all CFSs to put in place, because again, it eats into your revenue. So it's in your interest as much as mine to ensure that this cargo gets disposed. I would urge that this similar technology be replaced and replicated elsewhere too. We are also aware that there is a concern raised about why this audit is done every year, and whether the extension of renewal of license can be extended from 5 years to 10. This again is an issue which we are seized of. We will be examining this, and hopefully we will have a solution for you soon. There's of course a request for reduction in bank guarantees and bank bond amounts given by you all. Again, I would not like to commit myself here, except to say that be rest assured that it is getting our attention, and we hope to have a solution soon on all these issues which you have raised with us. With these words, I must excuse myself because I have a meeting very shortly at 11, which is unscheduled. My best wishes for today's deliberations. I'm happy that I could indeed come here. I look forward to seeing your recommendations and minutes, and I'm sure that between the two of us, we will ensure that cargoes are expeditiously cleared. We will ensure that the march of the nation towards greater prosperity and progress can go unhindered. Thank you very much, and my best wishes.
Thank you, sir. So we request you to release the customs cargo regulation rules, which usually is in the form of a book, but this time we have made it in a digitized form, and we would request you to release it. I would request Mr. Joshi to present a memento to Mr. Najib Shah. I'd like to introduce Dr. Trivedi. Dr. Trivedi took charge as the Chairman, National Shipping Board on 1st December 2014. He was earlier the Chairman and Managing Director of Indian Airlines till it was merged with Air India. Dr. Trivedi has worked in the IMF, Washington, D.C. from 94 to 98. He is a graduate in economics from St. Stephen's College and has completed his MSc Economics from the London School of Economics in 1975. He has written many discussion papers at the London School of Economics as a student of Professor Amartya Sen, Nobel laureate and renowned journalist in economics. He is a keen sportsman and he is the senior vice president of the Badminton Association of India. I present Dr. Trivedi.
Mr. Najib Shah, Mr. Joshi, distinguished delegates from various NACFSs and the regional associations, ladies and gentlemen. I play a slightly different role now because I play something between the government and the associations. And I can tell you at the outset that there has been such a steep rise in the attention given to the problems and procedures which the entire shipping or the maritime business has been burdened with for so many years. And on his face, I don't want to say, but I'll still say that you have, Mr. Shah, brought a lot of fresh air into the system, I must say. Because attention to details is probably, as I see, your strong point. And the broad things have been spoken to for decades. But I think the time has come to look into the details. For example, I think the first thing that the budget has declared is the single window system. And and this has been a huge problem. 5 department clearances and the dwell time increasing because of that, delays going on because of that. But I have one more little suggestion. That last time we had a meeting with the Bombay Chamber of Commerce, the French custom was there in a big number. Their director was there, and a company called Sojets was representing, and they claimed, as a nation, in the World Bank ease of doing business, there are several things. One of the categories is called the transaction across borders. And France is today the first number ranked in the transaction across borders, which actually deals with all that we are talking about, the customs and the clearances and the ports. Basically, the berth productivity, the yard productivity, and the gate productivity. These three are always, these are the things which define our ranking in the transaction across borders. And what they said, I think this is where we are getting, is the first thing that the French government did a few years back was to pass a similar kind of a decree that custom is the nodal center. All departments have to do this. Now, single window is singularly under the customs. There's no if and but that the agriculture department says, no, sir, I report to this fellow and I report to that fellow. So maybe this customs declaration in the single window declaration in the budget must now be translated into what the French called a decree, some kind of a stronger notification, which which does away with all such deviation type of FSSAI saying, no, we are autonomous body. What autonomous body? They are all government bodies. And they must all report to the chief commissioner or whoever chairs the regional meeting. It still happens, and it's a very interesting forum where a lot of problems get solved, but then people say, okay, I'll go and take orders from my other seniors and I'll do this and do that. So it sort of takes time. But this is a great step, and I'm sure under your leadership, you will give it a most solid foundation of how to get the single window sorted out. Single window is a very old concept. I mean, it's been as old as our independence, I guess. Yes. Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru maybe also spoke about it. But then this is the time. Now, with you there, I'm sure something will be sorted out. Then there are other issues about, the smaller issues. I'll just flag because I know there's a constraint on time. The congestion and hence the delay. The biggest container port, the JNPT port, faces huge amounts of delay, and we are just silently suffering. All of us are suffering. And there's so much criticism, and we've taken it as business as usual that there will be a 5-kilometer queue. Uske upar pareshani. Below 5 kilometers, it's never seen. Nobody has seen below 5 kilometers. So how to do it? How to? So the ministry had asked the NSB to devise a solution. Again, I being a very down-to-earth person, I said, well, huge numbers of solutions have been suggested. It's not that I'm doing it the first time. But we actually concluded that there's only one, and the first step is till the roads are broadened, 4 is converted into 8 lane, and this happens, that happens. We must see that no parking is there's no parking on the road. So parking bays are being made, plazas are being made, but the first thing that was done was, okay, any truck coming from anywhere should go to a CFS. It should go and park somewhere in the CFS and come out when the turn comes, when the ship is docked or anchored, when they know that the ship is arriving, the vessel is arriving, and they would. But that part of the discussion got a little into you and me type of situation, where most of the CFS and the other logistics operators were saying that custom clearance on the road must not be allowed. That because they park and they see that there's no need to go anywhere because the clearances will be done here. So, but I think the custom commissioner was very upright, and he said, well, it is not done, and if it is done, please bring it to my attention. But there was a gray area which said it is being done, and somebody saying not being done, and so there was a debate. Maybe a very strong decree from the board that no clearance on the road will be allowed as far as the JNPT is concerned. I'm sure there's a similar problem in other places, but I agree that Chennai has done some remarkable work and sorted out several problems in the short term, but in the long run, I'm sure they'll freeze the issues. Then there are perennial issues of integration between the PCS and the ice gate, and I'm sure the DG system is actually handling that. There was an issue about the budget, and there was the issue about the whole thing being, the capacity being increased. And you have a very active DG systems now who's just probably joined from Chennai, and he's, I think, not saying anything about the past ones, but I think he has the tools and the drive to perhaps get this going. And again, I think it's a customs thing. They must dominate any such PCS and other things, because this PCS that I have no difficulty in saying that the PCS that they say is a PCS is really not the PCS that the world understands as a PCS. The port community system is a far larger concept than what we have. This one operates between the 12 major ports. In any case, it does not cover all the other ports, and so there is some deficiency. But I think if the ice gate, with the latest upgrade that's going on, engulfs all that is in the PCS, or makes it as a subsidiary, fully held subsidiary, as they say, something will change. So the DG systems in the custom really has to be playing a really, really big role, and digitization, as you all understand and would support my plea, that is the only way out to reduce both the timing of and human interaction, which leads to a lot of unethical practices. So if everything is faceless, automatically such practices will go down. There has been a lot of issue about direct delivery, which JNPT has started, but I don't want to get into that dispute at this stage, because both sides have their own arguments, but I think it needs some solution. and some agreement with everybody. But probably JNPT is trying it out as a pilot project, and let's see how it goes. With these words, I must thank the NACFS for giving me this opportunity to be with you, and I look forward to some really steadfast and huge interventions from Mr. Najib Shah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I request Mr. Raghu Jairam to present a memento to Dr. Trivedi.
Thank you so much for coming.
I request Mr. Nikhil Modi to come forward. I'm sure all of us know Mr. Nikhil Modi, who has done tremendous service to the shipping industry. We'd like to recognize Mr. Nikhil Modi's contribution to NACFS. He has been an unstinted supporter of NACFS. We'd like to welcome him with a shawl, a bouquet, and a memento. Request Mr. Jagmohan to come over. So, Mr. Jagmohan. We'll have a vote of thanks. Okay. Yeah, we'll have a vote of thanks. Request Mr. Ashutosh Jaiswal to come forward to give his vote of thanks.
On behalf of NACFS, it was a pleasure to have Sri Najib Shah, Sri Vishwaprati Trivedi, and our President, Mr. R.R. Joshi here. And we thank you all for your valuable time given to us and sharing your thoughts and sharing your concerns to us, which I think most of us must have very carefully noted. And we appreciate that you are taking keen interest in us as a custodian and as a service provider. We thank you again, sir. And we also thank Albatross Inland Ports, who have contributed a lot to NACFS, and Associated Container Terminal Limited, who have actually contributed a lot to the NACFS development. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. We will have a coffee break before we start the next session.